But I'm going to be honest. What I'm seeing now, there's such a push for membership. But my question is why? And I've concluded that it's a money grab. And now I'm forcing this is how I actually see it. We as an organization, as the black community, we're now forcing ourselves into spaces that we're not wanted. And even if we are qualified to do the work, which we definitely are, the moment they don't like us, oh, you are DEI hire. That's what they're doing now anyway.
So in that, I think there should be a shift in, like within the organization saying, you know what, that's fine. Let's start to create our own.
That's what I'm saying. And
let me show you.
We're not doing it.
Welcome to the Grit Network, where real conversations meet real culture. I'm your co-host, L. Michael Burt, along with your other co-host, Dr. Musa Abdullah, bringing you raw, unfiltered discussion that matters to Black culture and beyond. No scripts, no filters, just pure dialogue. And tonight we're diving into a powerful topic. Are Black fraternities and sororities still relevant in today's society? From their roots to the future, we're breaking it all down. So grab your seats and let's get greedy. I mean, gritty. What are we talking about? Let's get gritty. Let's get gritty.
Let's get gritty on the grit. All right.
What's the co-host? What's going on, man?
Man, listen, I'm out here. I'm trying to get some stain in these internet streets. I'm in the internet back alley right now. I'm trying to get to the main avenue. So hopefully we could do something, and I think having these conversations will help.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's our first show, man. I'm excited to see what's going to be created from all of this. And basically our first topic, what's going on with you and your mind about fraternities, sororities, Black fraternities and sororities?
Ooh. All right. Well, first of all, let me start by saying I am a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
As well as
right. I was pledged and crossed in 1991 in the great state of Michigan, Zeta Beta chapter. Became a fully inducted member of Epsilon Xi chapter, where I call that my home as well. And my sojourn to Alpha has been very interesting, to say the least. And this conversation is something we've been having for a while, not just you and I. Just been having this conversation lately. And I like to start by saying I have a ton of people in my circles because I've been in the fraternity since I was 18. So you're talking 34 years. And I like to say that this is not about being offensive to anybody's organization in particular. For me, it's about a critique, because we need to determine whether or not what we're doing is viable. Does it benefit the Black community? Because that's what we were founded. So for me, that's where we are. I would like to get that information out there.
And yeah, I agree. 1998 was when I became a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, Epsilon Xi, which you made your home. And it was a transcendent moment for me, being a part of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And what it stood for me at that time, was really community and service. And I think that's important. But what do you think that founders would say about fraternities now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Looking back, I don't believe that a lot of our fraternity founders envisioned this much. I don't think they could have envisioned hundreds of thousands of people being a part of this organization, something that they started merely as a support network for themselves on a predominantly white campus, where they were being, racially segregated, educationally segregated. And I think that they were just trying to get by, trying to help one another, which was the way. We're talking about, Jim Crow, segregation, fresh out of Reconstruction, Black codes. So for these guys to come up with this concept was great. But I think that if they saw what was going on right now, I think they'd be ashamed, to be very, very honest with you.
You think so?
I think so. I genuinely do. I genuinely do. I don't believe that where we are today is, first of all, I don't believe it's what we need as a community. And I don't think that when they envisioned this thing growing, that they saw this level of apathy in so many Black men. That's my personal perspective.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing when you say that is that I think maybe a reframing of all organizations.
Well, you know, I'm going to say this. I've been saying for at least 10 to 15 years that we're time stamped. Once we all reach that 100-year mark, that's when I started looking back. I think I really started looking back in 2022 because that's when SG Rho, Sigma Gamma Rho, Sorority Incorporated, they became 100 years old.
Right.
And I looked back and I said, damn, all these organizations, we got 8 organizations. At the time, it was 8 that had reached a 100-year mark. And I started looking and saying, well, what have we benefited from all of us reaching that 100-year mark? We were celebrating. We were in the streets just loving it, getting shirts made with 100 on it and all types of beautiful stuff. But I'm saying,
Yeah.
but the masses, what did they benefit from our 100 years on this planet? And to be honest with you, I got a lot of information, so be ready for that. That shows that we benefited none. There was no collective benefit. And I'll be willing to have that discussion, discuss some of my findings.
So, I mean, as I'm hearing you talk, from what I'm gathering, in the culmination of the 100 years plus, we haven't gotten anything.
No, well, let me ask you the question. What would you say is the biggest takeaway that our community has
See,
from the founding of our organizations?
See, at that point, I would have to break it down from like city, community,
Right.
and the programs that I know about our program, A Voteless Hope, Voteless People is a Hopeless People.
Okay. All right.
You know,
yeah, I'm going to address that too.
oh, it's a small, it's just different programs that we've been in service of that I think helps the smaller community. But when you look at it as a whole, I don't necessarily see much of an impact.
Okay. Well, I'm glad at least we're honest, and that's what's important, right, with this conversation, that we're honest. Let me give some information. All right, cool.
Rock it out.
What institutes are needed to create a community? Well, you have to have educational institutions, religious, healthcare, government, community centers, social services, financial, businesses, recreational, and food stuff. Essentially, in order to have a true community, and I don't mean a neighborhood, because most Black people, we live in neighborhoods, not communities. In order to have a community, you have to, one, be able to finance the people in the community.
I hear what you're saying.
2, you have to be able to clothe the people. You have to be able to feed the people. You must be able to house the people, heal the people, and protect the people.
Okay.
Now, those are all institutions. They have different names for these different entities, but those are the things that you must do to have a truly successful community. Go to any Chinatown, they got their own banks, hospitals, restaurants, businesses, political offices. You go to Koreatown, Mexican Town, go to Dearborn, one of the largest Arab populations in the country. Any of these communities, you'll see these things. So let's go into some of the things I found. All right. First, financing the people. That will be banking. They're currently, and if anybody can correct me, please feel free in the comments. There are only 3 credit unions that were established. Alpha Kappa Alpha Federal Credit Union, which was established in 1979. They just went fully digital, I believe, in 2020.
Okay.
Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Federal Credit Union, which was established in 1986. and Phi Beta Sigma Federal Credit Union, which was established once again in 1986. Kappa Alpha Psi had a credit union which was closed in 2010. So out of all 9 quote unquote divine organizations, we got 3 credit unions. And 3 of them were started in the last century.
I mean, that says something about initiative. You know what I mean?
Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded in 1908. It only took them 71 years to find a credit.
I knew you were going to go
there. Omega Psi Phi was founded in 1911. Only took them, 75 years to figure out a credit union.
I got you.
Phi Beta Sigma was founded in 1914, 1986. Took them 72 years to found a credit union.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I hear you.
All right. So let me jump down to something real quick. In banking, from concept to opening, it takes between 1.5 to 2 years to open a credit union.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have some struggles in there somewhere, though. Sometimes it could take longer. I mean, finances.
100 years? Because Alabama doesn't have one. So we've been around for 116 years. I don't even keep count anymore.
117, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Clothe the people. That's called textile mills. Now, let's be clear. There are no textile mills owned by Black people in the country. So, needless to say, no D9 organizations own a textile mill, but they have partnered with Macy to launch an exclusive menswear collection in D9 colors. Okay. All right. Then we got educate the people. That will be schools. The Divine 9 organizations do not directly own or operate any school network systems.
Yeah.
Okay. Feed the people. That's grocery stores. No D9 organizations own a grocery store. House the people. Housing, complexes, subdivisions. No D9 organizations own a housing complex.
Okay.
Heal the people. That's medical facilities or hospitals. No D9 organization owns a hospital or medical facility. Protect the people. That's security or private patrol groups. No D9 organization owns a private security or police group. Our youngest member of MPAC, which is Iota Phi Theta, is 62 years of age. And the oldest member of MPHC, which is Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, is 119 years of age. So, with that information, please tell me our relevancy. I mean, we did some recording before. We could be very transparent about
Let's be transparent. Yeah.
We can be transparent.
This is part 2.
This is part 2. And I was a little hostile because this topic typically gets me upset.
I hear you.
Right. And I was a little hostile, but I decided to take a more studied, intentional approach.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm here to have the conversation with my brother. So I'm asking you, where do you see the relevance, just based on that little tidbit of information I gave?
From what you gave and from my personal just experience and outlook. And I'm disconnected from the organization itself, except for, my history. But I don't necessarily, and I just want to be honest, that I just don't feel the relevance or see the relevance. I can't even say it.
Relevance, my brother?
Relevance.
Okay, all right, that's honest. I appreciate honesty.
I don't see it because there's so many things. Like I think from where I stand, they were so relevant when it began. Right. And throughout the years, there was such a shift in societal norms and societal issues that it's possible that the D9 just stuck with, in the college level, just stuck with what it was historically.
Right.
But I think that once you now transfer over to the alumni group, that leadership needs to lead in a different way, especially in connection with what's going on with society during that time. And I think in this time, when you're looking at political agendas and things of that nature, that there's needs to be a shift in leadership in the vision of what the D9 should be in this space and time.
Okay.
And I don't think that they're doing the job as leadership, because the college level would look up to the leadership if they put a mandate on, look, this is what we need to be doing in our communities in order to make us relevant and move our organization forward. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Well, I agree. Listen, you don't got to sell me the soap, because I'll tell you, when I came in the organization, I came in purely because I met a brother. He was a brother, still is, who was so impressive as a young man. I was 17 and he was like 21 or 20. Might have been 19, 20. Marcus Foreman. And I'm going to tell you, this guy was so impressive as a man. He was very well read, very well studied. Just he cared about the Black community. And I was already there. I always cared about the Black community. I wanted to do more. I wanted to not be a drain on it. I wanted to be something significant. And I was like, man, this guy's doing things, man. He's going to be the man. And I wanted to be a part of what he was a part of. And I had never seen a step show, never been on a college campus, didn't know any alphas, but because of what he represented, that's what made me want to be an alpha. So I came in with the mindset of, I want to change. I want to be a change agent.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it anymore. And I see that people, I think, and going back to your point about the alumni, I think that we have too many people coming into alumni trying to relive a college experience.
I agree.
That's a big issue. That's not why you're here as an alumni, brother. Your job is to push the business forward, not to try to relive some glory days when you were a child, because we were effectively children in the sense of maturity and socialization when we became members. I mean, I was 18. So, if I count you as a young, very immature individual up to 21, and most of us were becoming members between 18 to 22 at the latest. And I remember when I would interact with white fraternities and sororities, they would say things I didn't understand. They would say things like, yeah, my dad used to be a Sigma Phi Epsilon. Like, what do you mean used to be? Well, the reason why they say used to be is because to them, it was a college experience. It wasn't something they try to take into adult living.
Yeah.
It wasn't transferable. And as members of our organization, we like, oh, you're crazy. You're always a member.
Right.
But now that I've gotten older, I understand, because they've left that behind and they've went on to things that are being beneficial for them, their families, and ultimately their communities. Whereas we're still trying to hold on to this ideology of what our organization was about.
Right.
We're going to transfer that into adult life, and it just doesn't transfer well. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. As you were saying that, I'm thinking like there should be a shift, like a clear shift. Like if you want to go from the collegiate level to alumni, like this is what being alumni of the fraternities and sororities are about. This is what we're doing in the communities. This is what we're doing in the political scope. This is what we're doing to change and transform our community, our Black community, our world as Black people. And I don't think that from what you're saying and from what I'm reading, like there's no difference. It's just going from college to alumni, and what are they really doing? And I don't see it. I don't see the influence. I don't see the necessity. And I know that there is a need. I just don't think that we're filling that need.
I'm with you on that. I want to give you some more information, if I may.
Please.
So I was doing my research on when were our wealthiest periods, Black Americans, when were we the wealthiest, right? First of all, let's be clear. After Reconstruction, during Reconstruction, which was 1865 to 1877,
Mm-hmm.
we possessed 1% of the nation's wealth.
Mm-hmm.
1%. I think that's a very generous estimate, but that's what they say, 1% of the nation's wealth. And that's between, well, a lot of numbers say 0.5%. If we're liberal, we'll say 1%. If you're conservative, you say 0.5%. That was between 1865, 1877. Now let's consider that's fresh off the plantation.
Okay.
Fresh off Master's plantation.
Right.
We had 1% of the nation's wealth. Today, in 2025, we only possess 4% of the nation's wealth. So with all these elite divine members, all these wonderful initiatives, we only went up 3.5% of the nation's wealth and ownership. I mean, that's in 160 years.
Right.
160 years it took us to get 3.5% of the nation's wealth. And I did some other stuff too. The Congressional Black Caucus, which I am so I don't even we call them the do nothing, the Congressional Black Talkers, the Do Nothing Caucus. They have so many wonderful names, but they will have 62 members in this 119th Congress, contributing to 67 Black representatives, yet we represent 20.1% of all of those in poverty in the United States. And it's terrible. So you're talking out of 100 people, poor people,
yeah,
20 of them are Black American. You're talking about 10 people, 2 of them are Black American. We dominate homelessness roles. We dominate the roles of poverty. We are right now on par with the immigrants in poverty. And they have an excellent chance of outdoing us in the next generation.
Yeah.
So with all of these Black fraternities and sororities and all these influential members, how are we relevant? How are we moving the needle when we're still there? This is one of my favorite books, Black Labor, White Wealth by the great Dr. Claude Anderson. And because you brought up politics, he talked about the comparison of number of Black elected officials versus our social economic conditions.
Okay.
In 1964, we had 103 elected officials. Our unemployment percentage was 10.8%. Black prisoners were 33%. Blacks below the poverty line was 34%. Per capita income was 53%. Okay. Now, the most recent data he has in this chart is 1992. So from 1964 to 1992, we had 8,000 elected Black officials by 1992. Our employment rate went up 4.6%. Our Black prisoner rates went up to 45.3%. Blacks below the poverty line went up just a tad, 0.4%.
Okay.
And our per capita income went up 6 percentage points to 59.1. So us being involved in politics, that's a no-go. Us being Democrat shills, because let's be clear, all of us are heavily Democrat. We're not independent. We are stuck on what they call the Democratic plantation, and we get absolutely nothing for our votes. We are led to believe that we can vote our way out of poverty. We can vote our way into success, which has been proven time and time again. If you didn't know about Obama, you ain't gonna never know.
You and Obama, man.
I don't deal with that guy or his wife or whatever the folks that he rolled with. I don't deal with Democrats, period. I don't deal with anybody, but I'm an independent, but we go hard in the paint as organizations. We sponsor people, even though we're supposed to be nonpartisan.
Mm-hmm.
We lie about that. Just like we lie about non-hazing.
Mm-hmm.
We lie about everything.
Mm-hmm.
We lie about what we're really standing for. And I think that not only are we not relevant, I'm going to be very honest with you, I think we're a detriment to the community.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, you still have people being of service.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to throw some halo on the issue.
I'm with you.
I'm trying to throw some halo on the issue because I mean, look, I think that we can still be relevant. I think there needs to be an understanding of what we need and what we do know what we need. We know what we need. It's just putting in the mandates of what we need to be doing as an organization, as a complete organization with all divine nines, and stepping up, and just talking about the whole DEI thing that just went down. Like, where are we now with that? You know what I mean? Like, where's the Black Caucus? Where are the organizations? Where's the uproar? If this is so important to diversity, equality, and inclusion.
Well, first of all, I'm against DEI, so you don't know if you want to have that conversation with me. But and the reason why is because if you have to have policies for me to be in your organization, I shouldn't be in your organization. I look at any organization side eye if you have the first Black anything in 2025.
Because it's not on merit?
Well, it's not that. It's just that I know that we are phenomenal people.
I got that.
We could run anything. We have the capacity to excel in any field, in any position in that field. But since we don't create companies because we don't have an economic base, we have to rely on other people to hire us for their companies. And if they deem that they don't want us, that's okay. We have to make our own.
We can make our own.
On my channel, I always say, create, fund, and maintain our own institutions. And if you are creating your own institutions, DEI is unnecessary. If I got my own business, I don't need you to include me. I don't need you to be diverse.
Okay.
I don't need equity from you. I don't need it because I have my own. That's like me telling you how I want you to cook dinner in your house, but I have a house. I don't need to eat at your house. Or you're not going to cook it the way I want it? Not a problem. I'll go home and cook. But if I only have your food, your kitchen, and your rules, I'm forced to be there. And now I'm forcing this is how I actually see it. We as an organization, as the Black community, we're now forcing ourselves into spaces that we're not wanted. And even if we are qualified to do the work, which we definitely are, the moment they don't like us, oh, you are DEI hire. That's what they're doing now anyway.
So in that, I think there should be a shift in, like within the organization saying, you know what, that's fine. Let's start and create our own.
That's what I'm saying. And
let me show
we're
you.
not doing it. That's my issue. And think about this. I even went down to the breakdowns. To start a banking institution, which would be a credit union, it takes 1.5 to 2 years from concept to open. Now, mind you, these are all from concept to opening. Okay. A textile mill, 2 to 4 years. Education, which I have here, a charter school, a private school is actually faster, but a charter school with stringent criteria, 1.5 to 3 years. A grocery store, 6 months to 1.5 years. A housing complex, from concept to moving your first tenant in, 2 to 4 years. Medical facilities and hospitals, 3 to 7 years for a complex facility, but
Okay.
like urgent care, 4 years
Okay.
tops. And private security, 3 to 6 months. You can't say we don't have the manpower. You can't say we don't have the finances. You can't explain to me, you cannot justify to me why any of these entities, any of these institutions, even if you don't want to put it all on Alpha or AKA or Sigma, Zeta, Kappa, Sigma, Rho, Omega, or Delta, as a collective, or IOTA, as a collective 9 organizations, why haven't we? Because that is literally, I want you to really smoke this over.
Just smoke.
Smoke it over, baby. That is hundreds of thousands of Black men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it again. Hundreds of thousands of Black men and women. And we don't have a network of banks. We don't have a network of grocery stores. You know, we complain about money. If Alpha Phi Alpha owned a textile mill, just a textile mill, we could charge our membership fee be like $200. It'd be like it was back in the 90s, like $200, because we
What is
can
it?
offset costs.
What is it now?
Membership now?
Yeah.
It's like $2,000-$3,000.
What? Okay.
Exactly. So we're pilfering money from the community just to say you're a member.
Just to say you're a member.
That money could very well be infused into the community. So now do you see why I say we actually are a detriment to the community?
Yeah, I get that. I get that point. That's rough to hear. I mean, I had no idea. You know what? That's how disconnected. That's how disconnected.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is.
See, you know me. When I talk about, I smoke it over for a while, and I've been smoking this over, but I don't want to be all doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
I will say what I see as the pros of at least some of us. I can't speak for everybody.
Right.
I can only
Okay.
speak the ones I'm closely connected to. Closely connected to Zeta Phi Beta because my mother's a Zeta, my wife's a Zeta. So I'm closely connected to Zeta. Of course, I'm closely connected to Alpha, and I got a lot of friends that are members of other organizations, particularly Omega and Sigma and Delta. And I'm going to say this. Where we really fall short as all of us is the one thing that I'm most passionate about, and that is the leading and education of our Black children.
Yeah.
What I will say, and this is from my personal anecdotal experience, the 2 organizations that I know got that mentorship on lock would be Phi Beta Sigma and Zeta Phi Beta. They got it on lock. The Zetas, I know for a fact, they start mentoring girls at 4 years of age.
Yeah.
All the way up to 18, 19.
Yeah.
So by the time they go away to school or whatever it is they try to do, they've had so much positive Black female experience and interaction that whatever lessons they didn't get at home, they definitely got in their service meetings, their workshops, right? Same thing goes for Phi Beta Sigma with the Sigma Betas.
I got 3 nieces, great nieces, grand nieces, whatever you want to call it, that actually benefit from that.
Yeah.
And they came to me, Uncle Mike, we're going to be Zetas when we go to college. I'm like,
exactly.
go right ahead.
Right. And see, that is a beautiful thing because what I've noticed that they do is they've infused their membership recruitment with that's it right there. They ain't got to recruit nobody because they're sending people away who want to be members. I mean, that to me is mind blowing. You got people who are already set up to be a part of the organization before they even get there.
Before they get there,
because they've been indoctrinated to with the principles and the values. So when it comes to mentorship, I gotta give it up to Phi Beta Sigma and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I gotta give it up to them. But as far as us, no. Omegas, Kappas, Alphas, Iotas. We have mentorship programs. Deltas, they got Deltines, Embody for Deltas. For Akkas, they got Akatines, Sigma Gamma Roles. I think I forgot what their mentorship group is called. I please forgive me, members of SG Row, but I don't remember. And I feel really bad about that. But I hate to say this, but if they were making an impact, I'd remember.
You remember? Cut it out.
No, but that goes for us too. It's not just them; it's the alpha too. So I don't want anybody to take it personally because I'm going to be the most critical of my own organization.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I introduced a program to one of our past general presidents. I won't even say his name, and he told me that it's too much bureaucracy.
Where does that come from? Got me about to cuss.
I created a program of mentorship that would help us to be in the lives of young Black boys from the ages of 8 all the way to 18. I tiered it. I laid out the program. It took me about a year to complete this skeleton model. I did a 3-tiered program and shot it to him, had a couple people over in the state look it up. He looked at it, he said, it's a good program, but the bureaucracy won't allow it to go through. It'll probably take years. So that was my one incident when I tried to get some mentorship going. I attempted to try to get the state of New York to do a credit union. I was, as they say, thrown into committee, asked to do a study. Now, if you don't know anything about politics, whenever they tell you to do a study, that means they're trying to kill it.
Yeah.
Right. So I was told, hey, meet with these guys. They're going to meet with you about it. So I was pushed over to about 3 or 4 older bros, and they didn't want nothing to do with it. And this was by the state director. I just said we should get a credit union for the state. We'll do one. And we're working from there. We could even get that going on. And guess what? You ready? That level of apathy, that same individual who pushed me off, guess what he is now?
What?
The president of Alpha.
Is that what's his name? The Haitian?
Yes.
Lucian?
Yes. So I'll call it out. I don't care. My thing is this. I love my organization because of what it has done for me, the work I put into it.
Yeah.
But I got to call a spade a spade. And the mentorship is where only 2 of us really got it right. But as far as college life, some of the best friends that I've ever met, some of the best people I've ever met were in Alpha. In organizations, they gave me guidance. They taught me things I still use to this day. Shout out to Jonathan Strobel from Kappa Alpha Psi. He gave me some life lessons that I still use to this day. Fred Safold, a member of Omega Psi Phi, gave me some lessons that I use to this day that I actually implement with children. But outside of that, you got the camaraderie, all right? Then you got your campus navigation. So when you're on campus, you need to find your way around. You need to figure out where to go, where not to go, what to do, what not to do. If you're going to do it wrong, figure the best way to do it wrong, classwork, things like that. That was a plus. Class assistants, people will know things you don't know. They'll give you some insight. Tell what professors you should go to, that you should talk to, where to go at for financial aid, stuff like that. But that doesn't transfer to the real world, to our community, because
exactly.
It becomes an elitist mindset that these are the people I'm going to help and they're going to help me. Everybody else, y'all got to figure it out for yourself.
then at that point, then if you're taking that mindset into the next level, that's when we just become irrelevant. And if you have a president, general elected president, shooting stuff down from the beginning before even, I guess, proposing it, like, where then does the organization go? Where does it lie? Is it all, just theater?
Yes. The answer would be a resounding yes.
Yeah, that's hopeless.
I
But I
mean,
know that we as an organizations can do so much better though.
but we're
You know, when
not.
you but we're not. And you throw out those statistics and people's minds live in the statistics and get stuck in those statistics when you have such power in behind us that's not being used. Then what are we for?
I personally, if I'm being very honest, we have fake power. It's perceived power.
Perceived power?
It's
Okay.
perceived. I don't even think it's real power because real power comes from an economic base, which we do not have. We don't have an economic base because we don't have a business class.
And
Business
then
class is what create economic power. With that economic power, you then get political power. Because
right.
bottom line, no politician is any good for you if you didn't pay for them.
Yeah, sad though.
And if you don't have the power to penalize or punish, you don't have any power at all. That's why other communities have things in their neighborhoods that we don't have, because they don't just vote. They have a conversation with the potential candidate and say, yo, check this out, man. We got 10,000 people over here who ready to vote for you. And we got this little donation to your campaign. So what you
I
gonna
hear
do
you.
for us? You know what we do? We get out there and canvas. We knock on doors. We sign up people for voteless people or hopeless people, voter registration drives, get everybody to vote for this one candidate, and then we go home. And then wonder why they don't do anything for us. I was talking to somebody during the election period, and I said, I don't care that Kamala was at all these sorority conventions. I could care less. You know why? Because none of them went up to her and said, yo, check this out. We got hundreds of thousands of members who are willing to vote for you. And we got a bag. We got a cool 7 figures that we willing to donate to your campaign in a super PAC. What are you going to do for the black community? But you know why I knew that would never happen? We don't even have reparations on our political platforms for any of our organizations. And all of our organizations were started by Black American men and women.
They're scared to do that.
And therein lies the problem. So now do you see why I say that it's perceived power?
Yeah.
Because if you have hundreds of thousands of educated Black men and women with financial resources, what the heck are you afraid of?
Right.
But we are afraid. We're afraid to say black. I don't say black and brown. I don't use people of color. I don't use minorities. I say black people because to be very, and then if I'm going one step further, I say foundational Black American people. I don't care what goes on in other communities because my community is suffering.
Mm.
20% of us are in poverty. And my organization, made up of hundreds of thousands of Black men, can do nothing about it. I don't
Choosing.
know.
It's a choice. I think it just goes back to that leadership, man. And I mean, your example was just perfect. I can't disagree with you, man. I think the majority at the bottom, foot soldiers or whatever, maybe that needs to be said. What are we doing? What are we really doing to make a difference in our communities? And I don't know, maybe it's just people caught up in their individual lives.
I don't, it just, you know what? I think it's a collective low self-esteem. I
I
think
could be.
that I always say that because, for example, we have all of our national headquarters are somewhere near Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
And I think we're still stuck on proximity to power. We think that that's real power.
I was
We
going
were
to say, as
founded,
opposed to real
we
power.
right, we were founded in Ithaca, New York.
New York, yeah.
I would say, honestly, in my personal opinion, our headquarters should have been in New York City, the financial hub of the world.
Mm, I saw that.
Had we have purchased a nice property in New York City in the 30s, the 40s, we would have we probably have $1 billion building right now. But
It's very
we,
possible.
Alpha Phi Alphas in particular, scammed us. And I say us because I was one of the members that they scammed by
What do you mean?
collecting a fee for a house fee. They were supposed to be building a house. Then they
What?
went from building a house to, oh, it's a restoration fee. And they bought an already built property in Maryland and made their headquarters there because they wanted to be in proximity to power. But what has that gotten us?
I can't even say.
I
I can't
mean,
even oppose you. I can't even oppose your argument.
I just think at this point, we need to really be having these conversations because
I agree.
many of us have children that are in college, children that are going away to college. Some are coming out of college. Some of us have legacies. Oh, he's a legacy. She's a legacy. She plays my fraternity, my sorority. And that's all beautiful. It's you know, it's nice to look at.
Yeah.
But when you start talking about what does that mean for your child? Does that mean that they are now going to be able to contribute to the community? Because if the organization wasn't contributing in the beginning, what are they going to do now? How are they going to pass on a principle to the child that the child did not see the members that brought them in doing? They didn't see it. So it's like, I'm not going to be focused on this black stuff. Y'all wasn't focused on it. I'm trying to get my stroll on. I'm trying to be in the step show. I'm trying to get me some new paraphernalia. I'm trying to go to the such and such party, the derby. I'm trying to go to whatever, I don't know, South Beach. I don't know what they do nowadays. I have no clue. But you never hear anybody talking about our chapter is opening a business. My organization, that should be the flex.
Yeah.
My organization, we got a network of schools. You know how many teachers are part of D9? I have yet to go
Come on.
work in a school. I've worked in about 5 or 6 schools. I have yet to work in a school where at least half of the black staff were in part of organizations.
Mm.
And the crazy part about it is the kids didn't know what the heck those organizations were. That's the
Yeah.
killer.
The presence isn't, well, the presence is there, but they're not talking about it. They're not being about it. There needs to be a switch. Then, like you said, we really need to have these conversations because we need to be enlightened on what's really happening. Well, even if we do know what's happening, there's nothing happening in our organizations, in our communities that need to be happening because it's a lot. It's a
Right.
lot, man.
Listen, I'm gonna round it out with this. I'm gonna round it out with this, because I think we need to be solutionaries. We could talk about what we're not doing. Okay, cool. I was always taught that what's not being done on the national level, you can do on the local level, right?
Right, right.
But I'm gonna be honest. What I'm seeing now, there's such a push for membership. But my question is why?
Mm,
And I've concluded that it's a money grab. The more people you bring in, the more money you got. And then we
yeah,
have this belief that strength is in numbers. But if you got a bunch of, you have a whole team of no good nicks, what does it matter? You know, you got 100,000 people, and out of the 100,000 people, the small, minute minority that says something about what we should be doing are shouted down, right? So I think what we need to be doing is having, as a Christian said, come to Jesus moment. We need to have that moment and be painfully honest about what we're not doing, instead of sitting around, oh, I'm a member of A5A, and just puffing out our chest. Well, somebody needs to put a pin in it and say, well, what does that mean to me?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about from the neighborhood, from our community. You're a member of Alfalfa. What does that mean to me?
What does that mean? Yeah.
You know, and if the best you got is a canned food drive, a walk, a coat drive, you collect toys, give out turkeys on Thanksgiving. If that's what you have, we can go to the 4-H club. We can go to we can go to NAACP. We can go to any organization. We are literally doing less in Detroit for our community than a group called New Era Detroit.
Yeah, you talked about them.
New Era Detroit's doing more for the community than Alpha Phi Alpha. New Era's probably been around, maybe no more than 10 years. And
Like you said, it's a wake up.
there are people around the globe, and definitely around the nation, who know about New Era Detroit. But if you show somebody our letters, they be like, what's that? And we've been around over 100 years. That's something to think about.
It's conversation that need to be had and some actions that need to be taken.
And I want to leave people with this. If you decide that you want to be a part of the organization, you need to be honest about why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You need to be honest. Is your community in mind when you decide to join? Is it something you just wanted to do? Is it something you want to just be a part? You want to be a part of something? And if you do just want to be a part of something, where does it go after that? Because that will wear off quickly. Take my word. It wears off. For me, it took a very long time for me to even get to this space of saying something ain't right. And I was diehard going to Paint Alpha. Still am to a degree. I'm a life member. I'm still part of a chapter. But I'm not even that active in the chapter anymore because I just see what I call one and dones. So if you're going to be a part of an organization, you need to look at their mission, and then you need to start inquiring, what are the things that you're actually doing? And are they one and done? Is this something that's consistent? Do you have a mentorship program? Do you have financial literacy workshops for your members? What's your plans to move your community forward? And if they don't have answers, I think maybe you should reconsider. But that's just as a member of an organization saying that to you. Those are my thoughts.
Well, we'll end it with that. Musa, Dr. Abdullah, good talk.
I appreciate you, Brother Burt, as always.
As always. And for you watchers, we'll see you next time on The Grit.
Peace.